Man, if you do any of these 5 things to a woman, it doesn't matter how successful, how tall, or how ripped you are, she will lose attraction and she will ghost or leave you. Man, I've seen it happen to too many good guys that I coach. They had seemingly great dates, but suddenly they get fucking ghosted or ignored. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 mistakes you must avoid to keep high quality women chasing you. I'll give you examples and practical solutions you can implement immediately. So what's mistake number 1? Making her feelings your responsibility. So if you're like me, you've grown up with a weak masculine role model. I was raised by my grandma. She taught me to never treat a woman badly. Like you should never upset her or make her cry. And you might even feel responsible for her feelings, right? You make sure she's always comfortable, even if it means you ignore your own needs. So for example, on dates, I used to just nod along when she yapped about her exes. Why? Because I was too uncomfortable to end this conversation because I thought it would be impolite and rude and it would kill rapport or connection. But here's the brutal truth, man. It was worse. It killed attraction. Because every time I swallowed my own needs to keep her comfortable, I conveyed I am weak. And women smell that weakness from miles away, man. And guess what? When they smell that weakness, they are subconsciously leaving you already, bro. So obviously the $1 million question now is, how do you stop making her emotions your job? First, man, and this is hard, don't blame yourself. Because it is a script of behaviors that you've been conditioned with. It is your default behavior since you were born. I call it the Kevin script, yeah? So the Kevin script has been drilled into you by weak role models like Hollywood sitcoms, think of How I Met Your Mother, and Big Bang Theory, and the fear of being the bad guy. And because of that, you always put women's needs above yours. Now the question obviously is, how do you know you're running on that Kevin script? Because often that is just a subconscious response of yours. And in order to stop it, we need to make it conscious. So here are a couple of examples that allow you to identify whether or not you're running on a Kevin script. So for instance, I let girls constantly interrupt me on dates. I tolerated women glued to their phones on dates, or believe it or not, even flirting with other guys while I was on a date with them. That's fucked up, man. So how do you change this from here on? Quite simple, man. During interactions, ask yourself, am I acting like a Kevin right now, the people pleaser, or Hercules, the man who has fucking self-respect? So here are a couple of practical examples. So let's say she starts trauma dumping about her ex, right? Don't just nod along. Instead, in a nonchalant way, you tell her off. Hey, I get it, it's tough, but I'd rather focus on us right now. And if she's not ready for that, it's okay to fucking walk away, man. The key for change is to always check yourself from now on. Am I acting like a Kevin or am I acting like Hercules? And just try this for 1 week. You'll be shocked at how often you catch yourself acting like a Kevin. And that's when you realize the more you chase her approval, the more you lose her desire. If she senses that you are more invested in her comfort than your own standards, the dynamic flips, bro. And once that power is lost, right? Once you lost your masculine frame, it's almost impossible to get it back, bro. By the way, man, before we move on to mistake number 2, if you want to attract an abundance of high quality women, there's a link in the description to work with me exclusively. Click on it and we hop on a free strategy call. On that call, I'll ask you a couple of questions to find out if my mentorship can actually help you and if you're a great fit for my mentorship. And then, yeah, from there on, I'm gonna help you attract the women of your dreams. With that being said, let's discover what the second biggest mistake is with women that you must avoid at all costs. So mistake number 2 is trying to win her over with money or favors. I worked in finance in London. I made good money and I know how easy it is to fall into that trap of thinking your lifestyle is your biggest asset. I was the guy who booked the fanciest rooftop bars in London, like the Duck and Waffle, the Madison, or picked the fancy Italian restaurant in Chelsea. I've seen my clients do the same fucking thing. If I show her my lifestyle, she'll fall for me. But man, here's the dark truth that nobody tells you. When you lead with your wallet, she comes for your wallet, not for you. Not for your personality, not your values, or your heart. And she sure as hell won't come for your flaws. So I'm not saying you shouldn't spoil your partner, but only after she's shown you that she values you for you, after she's earned your loyalty. Because when money enters the dating stage too early, it turns every date into a transaction. You open yourself to the wrong kind of women, the gold diggers, the women that are for the streets. Because I can't tell you, man, how many women used me for free fucking dinner dates. I remember that one Latina that texted me on Friday evening, after ghosting me for like 2 weeks, which was a red flag already, asking if I want to join her to this Italian place, right? The naive idiot I dropped everything and I fucking agreed. So I paid for everything because I thought I would show her that I'm the guy with resources, with assets. In truth, I was just a fucking Kevin, man. And guess what? She fucking ghosted me, obviously. Nothing happened after the day. Just a mere kiss. And here's where it gets even more dangerous. You are conditioning her to believe that you are only a provider. You are just a wallet. But what happens when you stop providing? When you want to leave your secure job or your business starts losing cash? Will she stick around or leave you when you are at your lowest? So when I met my girl Sandra, she offered to pay for drinks on our first few dates. I declined, obviously, but that was a major green flag for me. And over time, she's proven her loyalty time and time again. She paid rent when I couldn't. And now, in return, she doesn't have to worry about anything ever again. I invest into business mentors for her. I pay groceries, I pay dinners, etc., etc. And once in a while, I let her invite me for a coffee or something small, just to make her feel good. But when you give without her proving herself to you, without you qualifying her, you are acting like a Kevin. Because what does it say about your standards? So here are 2 actions I want you to take from now on. Suggest a bar that's a bit more low-key, or start with a coffee date. So for coffee date locations, however, I'd suggest a premium coffee place, not some Starbucks, because it's about the overall image you convey. Find the right balance between the brokey and the rich guy, With that being said, let's talk about the next thing that 99% of men struggle with. So what's mistake number 3 that you should never do to women? Pedestalizing her because she's hot. I'll never forget my first few dates with the 8s or 9s, right? The moment they walked in, I started sweating, my heart was racing, and my face basically screamed, fuck, she's hot. So while it was amazing that she was hot, it triggered my Kevin script. Suddenly, I was stuck in this mental prison again. I went from this mindset of, do I even like her, to this approval seeking, how can I make her like me because she's so hot and I want her to have sex with me. And I'm sure you've been there too, man. You find her hot and suddenly you chase, you overinvest, and you ignore all the red flags like the tons of exes, the vaping, the bad manners on the date. And worse, you ditch every single thing you learned about attraction. All those frameworks about qualifying her, challenging her, raising your own value, out the window. And here's the thing, man, she feels it. And she hates it because you just destroyed one of her biggest primal fantasies. To date a guy who's actually masculine, secure, and is of equal, if not higher sexual market value. You burst that bubble by filtering yourself, trying too hard to be funny, and even laughing at her jokes. Because at the end of the day, man, I've not yet met a single woman that is funny, bro. And all of that makes you look nervous. And when you look nervous, that screams insecure. Now you might wonder, okay, why does this happen and how do I fix this? So most men who pedestalize women were never taught to value themselves. It comes back to point number 1. Conditioning. So you keep running on the script of, if I mess this up, I'll never find someone like her again. Hot women are rare, I need to treat her special, right? And all that screams scarcity mindset. It's that kind of mindset that makes you tolerate disrespect, chase girls who don't even fucking care, and get stuck in one-nights with girls who treat you like shit. Every guy I coach either goes through this on a date or like in a relationship. Now, what's the fucking solution to this? First of all, you don't have to pretend she's not hot, but be secure in your own value too, man. And there are 2 ways to work on this. Number 1, inner game. I'm going to give you a couple of questions to respond to. What are traits that make you great? What makes you a great man, like a Hercules? And aside from your money and your success, what about your values and actions that make you great? This is powerful because we men have been conditioned to believe we are only worthy if we provide. But we have more to offer than just providing. And once you build a secure foundation, that confidence, you will automatically de-pedestalize her and you can start qualifying her. Because when you are secure, her beauty stops being your only criteria for qualification. And it's exactly that what makes you stand out from 99% of men. When you playfully tease her and charmingly qualify her, you instantly boost your sexual market value, bro. And again, that triggers her primal fantasy. So here's an example of a playful tease, especially for the hot ones. I like to say, hey, you're kind of smart for someone who looks like you. That works because it implies you have dated other hot girls, but she's surprisingly smarter than them. It conveys pre-selection as well as displays confidence. Now, speaking of teasing, here's point number 4 that totally kills attraction. So here's mistake number 4. When you act like a LinkedIn recruiter on fucking dates. 90% of the girls I coach struggle with the same problem. They show up to a date turning a romantic setting into a fucking job interview. They ask questions like,
so what do you do? Where are you from? What do you like to do for fun?
Like, I mean, I get it, right? Questions are great to get to know her, but you come across like you're on a fucking fact-finding mission, man. So from now on, I want you to stop only asking questions. Women are there for a date, not a fucking interview. They are there for feelings. They want to experience a wide range of emotions. They want to feel desired, feel feminine, playful, and seen. But only asking questions will not trigger these feelings in her. Because when you stay in this logical, analytical question mode, you flatline her feelings. You become a coworker, a friend. And a lot of smart men, especially high achievers, they default to logic because it's what worked for them everywhere else in life, right? You're used to solving problems. You're used to having structured conversations with an agenda and key takeaways from a meeting. But you're on a date. Dating is about feelings. So how do you stop boring the fuck out of her, man? How do you go from he's just like all the other fucking guys to there's something about him that I've never felt with any other guy before? So I want you to keep asking questions, but sprinkle in like playful observations, accusations, assumptions. So when you ask her, what do you do for work? And she responds with, I work in banking. You can respond with, no way, you gave me the typical art high school teacher vibes. You need to understand the beauty of a great conversation isn't that it's factual and correct, but that it is fun. So if she says she loves yoga and Pilates, you can tease her. You can say, oh my gosh, that's so original. Obviously with a smirk, right? That playful energy is super magnetic. Now there's one more thing to really make her obsessed with you, and that is to stop giving her what she fucking wants. I know this sounds a bit counterintuitive and confusing, but let me explain. So every mentally stable woman will tell you that she wants a nice guy, somebody who treats her like a queen, and a guy that is emotionally open and vulnerable. Because of societal conditioning, most men, myself included, or my old self, we took that at face value. Because our male brain is wired to talk in facts, not in emotions or half-truths, right? So we hear women say this, we take it as face value, and we do exactly what they want us to do. And guess what happens? We get fucking ghosted. Here's the brutal truth, man. Women don't date based on their ideal self. They date based on their primal self. Her ideal self will say, I want stability, kindness, emotional support. Her primal self, however, craves stability, but also arrogance, tension, excitement, leadership. When you only cater to her ideal self, you get approval, you get liked, but you don't get attraction. You become safe, predictable, fucking boring. You become a Kevin, the guy she likes but does not fuck. So when she says she wants nice, but she responds to playful teasing, confidence, sexual tension, she's not lying, man. She wants niceness. Once you've given her also all the other things. Women just don't understand really how they're wired. So when a woman says she wants a nice guy, she wants the man she is attracted to already to be nice. Do you understand the difference? So the second you give her what she needs, the primal cocktail of safety and tension, you stand out from every Kevin out there who's just being nice. So I'm not telling you to not be nice, I'm telling you to integrate more sexual tension and primal desires. And here's how you bridge the gap between this ideal and primal self of hers. If she vents about work on the date, give her space to express that. You can say, sounds like you had a rough day. That shows you can empathize. Then, especially because you're on a date, you don't want that heavy energy to stick around, so you add something playful. Like, but I'm sure like a little troublemaker like you can handle it rough, right? So do you see how you can combine safety with tension and most likely also make her laugh? Because when you make a woman laugh, she's all yours, man. If you want to integrate more playfulness into your dates, but you don't really know how to, then I recommend you watch this next video.